All right, we are here today talking about the Get Up. Okay, so the Get Up is a good kind of full body challenge. I'm going to challenge mobility, stability, going to get some blood pumping, get your heart rate up. So just a really good warm up pattern, a really good pattern in and of itself. So especially for the shoulder girdle, going to get you into some challenging positions here. So many reasons we love the Get Up. You could use this again as a warm up. You could use this as a standalone. Do it for 10-15 minutes and just call that a good day of movement. Could go really heavy on it. So we would like to use this pattern a lot. That's why we want to take the time to go over it in a little bit more detail with you. Okay. As far as tools, what would you use for it? Kettlebell is probably the most common. Could be used bottoms up, which would kind of challenge stability a little bit more. Bottoms down, which will allow you to load it heavier. Or even with the dumbbell, if you don't have access to a kettlebell, totally fine. Kind of difficulty level, kind of somewhere between bottoms down and bottoms up kettlebell. Okay. For beginners, if you have access to a kettlebell, we really like learning with a bottoms up kettlebell just because it'll constrain the load that you can use and force you to do it with a little bit more control. So that's what we're going to do here today with Peter. Okay, so talk about first, notice how do we even start? What position do we start in? We're going to start kind of in this little fetal position here, and he's going to roll onto his back to get that weight right up over his shoulder, kind of punched up towards the sky. Okay. You're going to go bottoms up? Yep, go there. So now he's in this bottoms up position. Kettlebell is kind of stacked right over his wrist and elbow, which is stacked right over his shoulder, and we're going to kind of maintain that alignment the whole time. Okay, so he's here laying on his back. This foot on the same side as the kettlebell is slightly outside the midline of his body. Okay, and then this leg is out to the side about a 45-degree angle. This arm's out to the side just a little bit lower than his shoulder height. Yeah, so that's our setup position. Okay, the first step is the roll to the elbow, and it's a roll, not a sit-up. So he's going to push through this heel, the same side heel, and pull through the opposite side elbow to roll to that position. Can you control that back down? Let's do that one more time. Control down, push through the heel, pull through the elbow, and roll. He did not use his abs to try to sit up. Go ahead and do that and see what that looks like. You'll see that leg pop up. Okay, if you see that leg pop up during that first step, that's a classic sign that you tried to sit up, did not roll, and you will not be able to do this with much load at all, which over time we'd like you to be able to. Okay. The other thing we're looking for in that first step is that this bottom shoulder here is not falling forward. It's not collapsing on that bottom shoulder. It's nice and packed back. It kind of maintains really good distance from the shoulder to the ear. And it should feel like if I took this weight from him for a second and he made a fist and I push down on his hand, he should feel like he's in a nice strong position. If he lets that shoulder dump forward and I do that again, that's not going to feel as good. He's not going to be as strong there. Okay, so again, nice, strong, packed-in shoulder in that first step. Okay, he's then going to maintain that packed-in shoulder as he then screws the hand into the floor, so as if that hand's nailed into the floor, screwing it towards the pinky and coming up towards the hand. Okay, so you're going to control that back down, screw back up. Go ahead and do one more. Control down, screw the hand in, come back up. So shoulder is still packed in. Same thing if I pushed on his hand, he wouldn't be going anywhere. Okay, and this hand didn't move, he didn't pick it up, it just pivoted in place. From there, we're going to go into the leg sweep. Okay, so he's going to push that heel into the ground, pick his hips up, and sweep that leg underneath him. This knee is kind of right behind an imaginary line from this heel to this hand, okay, and then a little closer to his hand, so he's got a nice wide base between that knee and that foot. Okay, go ahead and sweep the leg back out. Let's just see that step one more time. Bridge up, sweep the leg underneath. Okay, from here, he's going to hinge at the hips and come up to a half kneeling position. Okay, so hinging there, nice and tall. Okay, let's see him control that back down. Hinge at the hips, hand back down. So not kind of pushing through that hand, not just yanking himself up from his torso, but sitting into his hips and coming up from there. Okay. From here, he's kind of now in this nice open stance, nice and stable. We're going to get lined up so that he can stand up from here. He's got two options. He can pick this leg up and bring it over, or if he brings that back open, he could pivot the back leg, kind of known as the windshield wiper, and to get into alignment that way. Either way, we want to get that into more of an aligned, kind of almost like a lunge position here, and he's then going to step up through that front leg and back toe, get all the way up overhead. Okay, that's the finished position. We're now just going to come back down, reversing all those steps. So back to the knee, either open that leg up or wiper the back leg, sit into those hips, put the hand right back down. Okay, nice packed in shoulder, sweep the leg out, and then control back down to the elbow, control back down all the way down, still maintaining that packed in shoulder on those last two steps. Didn't let his shoulder collapse. Okay, and then to dismount, he's going to bring the kettlebell down and roll right back to that fetal position. Okay, you'll see a lot of funky stuff right at the end where people are patting themselves on the back for having finished that movement and just throw that kettlebell somewhere. So again, don't do that. Control down, roll out of there. Okay, so let's just look at one more nice full fluid motion. Yeah, well, let his right arm rest here. Yeah, so rolling over, he's going bottoms down this time just to show you that different kind of loading position. Roll, okay, screw the hand in, sweep the leg, hinge to the half kneel, sweep the leg over, drive on up, okay, and then control coming back down. Back to the knee, open up, hinge at the hips, leg out, have a seat, elbow all the way down, boom. Enjoy.